queers! What's on the big gay agenda today, Theora?
Today, we are continuing our discussion of Gap the series. We're going to start by jumping into all of the scenes from start to finish. We'll see how long this takes, because there are many things to say about this show. But before we jump into all that, some quick housekeeping courtesy of Kaitlynn.
Yes. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel, give this video a like, and drop a comment to share your thoughts. We absolutely love hearing from you. For our podcast listeners, please download this episode and leave a review if you can. Your engagement helps us reach a broader audience and spur the joy of queer content. For even more exclusive queer content, early access, and full reaction videos, join us on Patreon. Dive into discussions on our Discord channel where we enjoy connecting with all of you. Explore our merchandise at biggayenergypod.com to show your support. All links will be in the description. Lastly, stay connected with us on all social media platforms by following @BigGayEnergyPod. Your interactions mean the world to us, and these actions contribute to our ongoing celebration of queer media and advocacy for better representation. Thank you.
Woo! Kaitlynn didn't even take a breath during that. Yay, Kaitlynn! Woo! All right, so we are going to jump into all of the scenes. This is going to be somewhat in chronological order. I say somewhat because I organized this by the trajectory of Mon and Sam's relationship. So we're not going to start at episode 1. We're going to go a little bit further back in time, creating a gap, if you will, and talk about the meet cute, maybe? Wasn't sure what to call this, but they meet over a puppy is all I'm saying.
The pup cute.
The pup cute. Of all the things, they meet over a puppy, which is really cute, and I fucking love that. I'm sorry.
I mean, this is my ideal meet cute. Now. I would love this to happen.
Right.
But maybe minus the car.
Yeah, why does there have to be a hit and run in the middle of my meet cute? Why? Okay, I have so many questions about this because they're in I don't even know, elementary school, high school. I think high school because it's Sam's I don't know, up there in age in terms of children, and then that's where Mon's mom works as a teacher, I guess. And so Mon's there petting the puppy, and then some rando is just backing up towards Mon, but they're there's no street. I don't know where they were going. They were just slowly backing up towards this child. It's so weird. But Sam saves the day, and that's how they meet, because some rando is trying to hat it up for Mon.
Well, they were in a parking space, right?
I have no idea. I couldn't really see at the angle we were given because it's from Mon's point of view, so you're ground up. So all you see is this car, and the guy's oh, whoops.
Yeah, they do start freaking out. They're just oh, okay.
No remorse, zero fucks. Sam's you almost killed a child. And he's my bad. And then I don't know where he went because then he stopped backing up. He was just okay. So clearly the backing up wasn't that important to this guy. It was very weird. But anyway, I wanted to quote something too, because the big takeaway from this is that basically Mon's first impression of Sam is Enchanted by Taylor Swift. Is going on in her head where she's singing.
I was enchanted to meet you.
Yeah, that's literally Mon in this moment, because she is just taken by Sam's smile, basically. And I quoted the English translation of basically the book synopsis that this was based off of. And it's told from Mon's point of view, which to me the show feels like it's from Mon's point of view. So it says, when we met when we were kids, her charming smile is forever imprinted on my memory, and I want to see her again. So literally this moment when Sam smiles at her is that's it. It's over for Mon. She's just I will follow you to the ends of the earth, because she's seriously enchanted. That is the best descriptor of what's going on with Mon. It's crazy.
And then I just want to add that this dog has so much screen time.
Oh my god.
I love the dog, man.
And is the best through line and the most confusing to when we were watching the initial first episode or two. And then they answered it and we figured out what's going on. But this dog though is a key piece to this relationship at the in the beginning, the perceived relationship at the beginning.
So what I'm hearing is that the dog is the OG ship captain.
Mm-hmm.
The dog's let me just stand by this car real fast. And then he's the dog is looking between the two of them. He's
And he's like,
Yep.
not now,
Yep.
but in like 13
These are my
years,
moms.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah. In 10 years, it's gonna be. That dog was one fucking smart dog. I hope they gave him lots of treats. Okay. So, not only is it cute, I love the dog. Again, they had their audience in mind. They're like, lesbians, dogs. Like, it could have been a cat too, but the cat would have like fucked off and we never would have had the meet cute. Like, they just never would. See, I would have never saw the cat again. The whole story wouldn't happen. So,
It'd have to be a cat that acted like a dog.
correct. Exactly. So, I'm here for the dog. But in hindsight, this whole meet cute between the two of them, I think, is very, very revealing when later, when you like are more introduced to Sam and Mon. So, from Sam's point of view, what she tells Mon, the reason why like this is a big deal, she's like, she couldn't keep the dog, basically. And to me, that was a hint immediately from Sam that like she lives in a controlling household, because she's like clearly loves the dog, wants to keep it, but like cannot. So like as a minor, it must be her family kind of thing. But at this moment when they meet, this is her sisters are all alive. So this is pre her grandmother taking full control of her life. So at this point, Sam does not have all of those emotional walls that she built to kind of protect herself from her grandmother and like the life her grandmother wanted to lead. So I think that's why Mon gets the enchanting smile from Sam, because like it's actually Sam she's meeting. She's not meeting like the traumatized version of Sam that like happens later through like the course of her life because of her life experience. So this is a Sam who very much like speaks her mind. Like she says very open and honestly, like, I want to keep the dog, but I can't. So like if you would have, this was Sam when we, when they meet later, like that Sam would never say that, So this is a very much more open, honest Sam who's saying exactly what she feels. She has her emotions like written on her face, and she's undeniably herself, which is the main point. So to me, I think that that's significant that Mon like is enchanted by that version of Sam, like actually who Sam is. And that's who left an impression on Mon. I think that is the key of this whole takeaway of the whole flashback. And is important for kind of like what gets them through all the weirdness later when Mon's like, this isn't who I remember. Like something's wrong here, like she has every right to be like red flag. Because the Sam she met was very like open, very honest, very caring, like a loving person. Like even though they had short moments together, like it's very clear just like by looking at Sam and like seeing how she behaves about like what allegedly is a puppy. Watch her reaction video for those opinions. But this is a very open and honest Sam, and I think it's important that that's who who Mon like really imprints on, essentially.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting but not wrong choice of words. The imprinting on, like it's not wrong, but Twilight vibes.
Yeah, sorry.
That's where I learned the word. I still don't fully know what that means, because in the context, I was younger when that movie came out, and I think I saw it in the theater without having seen the other ones. It was really weird, and I was like, "What is this word?" And the way they made it sound, I thought it was a lot dirtier.
Oh, no. I was thinking more of like a baby duckling. Like they imprint. They're like, oh,
yeah.
I have an emotional connection to you immediately and I will follow you to the ends of the earth. You're my protector, my guardian, you're my everything. I did not mean that in a Twilight way.
Well, that's why I had the two like very conflicting responses to it. Yeah,
this is all Stephanie Meyer's fault.
Yeah,
you're a terrible writer, and I hate you. Anyway,
I'm still on Theora continuously using the word enchanting, and now she knows what she did.
I know. Now Caitlin's gonna be distracted, but there's Taylor Swift is just relevant to everything.
Yeah, it comes up multiple times.
It does, exactly.
Wait for
it's
it.
always in my brain. Okay, anyway. So from Mon's point of view, the other thing that's really revealing about Mon in this, not only this is where her stalkerness starts, the origin story. What I think is important here in their interaction is that although Mon is really young, she emotionally connects with Sam very, very quickly, hence the imprinting. And her first action is to like ease Sam's sadness. Like without thinking, she's like basically to her mom, she's like, well, we can keep the dog. Like she's crying and it's making me uncomfortable. Like immediately she's trying to like fix things and like comfort Sam and kind of like be there, which is such a Mon thing to do. And that's something that like is a hallmark of Mon's character, like the entire time. Like she's very open about her feelings. She's very emotionally intelligent, even when she's little, and is very good at like giving people what they need kind of thing. She's very of a comforting person, I would say. And like immediately without hesitation with Sam, she's just that person and is what Sam like needs in the moment, which is just very Mon. So I love that about them.
Yeah, and while that could get tricky, being so like I'm willing to give you what you're looking for in an emotional, that could get, like, she is a strong person
Yes.
aside from being like very as you said, emotionally intelligent and like emotionally aware and trying to fix the situation or make Sam specifically feel better. And like, she is still able to say no, or you're pushing my boundary, or
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure.
so I think that's also an important thing to just like mention as well, because it could be taken advantage of
Oh,
really
for sure.
easily.
For sure.
That's yeah.
Yeah, that's not evident in the flashback, but like, yeah,
Right.
Mon is a very strong person for
Mhm.
sure. She's very empathetic. Like that's
Yes.
who Mon is, and so we
Mhm.
see that
Absolutely.
in the flashback. Okay, so other like flashbacky thing I want to talk about is what went down in the gap between the past and present, like with Sam and her family. Like I think it said it in the reaction video, like, who hurt you, Sam? Who hurt you? But we get it in the flashbacks. Like, Sam, like, is very clearly when we meet her in the present, she is a deeply traumatized human being. So I just want to, like, basically overview the bullshit that goes down with Sam's family. And I want to refer to, I have a hard time calling Sam's grandmother grandmother. I want to call her the grandmam. And I don't know if you've ever
That's
read.
why you kept writing that.
I'm writing it on purpose. If you've watched and or read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the Hunger Games prequel, Cornelius's grandmother, they call her the grandmam. And like she just reminds me a lot of Sam's grandmother. It's just this very royal, imposing person. And so like the grandmam. And that's who Sam thinks of her as. She's like, it's not always touchy-feely. It's very much like she's a stately, like, I obey you kind of thing. So I will refer to her as the grandmam because I can't get that out of hand. Also, phenomenal book. Go read it. But listen to this first. Okay, so overview of Sam's family. So Sam is the youngest of 3 daughters, and they are all under the care of their grandmother. And I didn't catch this the first time, but the names of all the girls, like, kind of speaks volumes about, like, how they are perceived in their family. So, basically their names mean the birth order. So, first daughter is, oh god, is it Nong? I'm gonna say this wrong. I will butcher names, and to be fair, I butcher English names. So
yes, no, Theora is
I
notorious
can't
for
name
spelling and names.
yes, I'm really bad at it. Nuang, I think is her name. So it means first. Song is the second child. It means second, and Sam's full name means third. So literally, they're named by their birth order, which is very revealing. And the reason it's important is because their family has a direct bloodline to the Thai royal family. So I wanted to take a second to just talk about the Thai royal family to kind of like put this into context of like where we're at right now. So Thailand historically had a monarchy. Thailand was originally called like Siam, and it was ruled by an absolute monarchy. So kind of like Henry VIII, England kind of thing, where like, you know, the monarchy was ordained by the religion in that area, which is Buddhism, and like they had absolute rule. So what the king said goes, kind of thing. So king had all the power, basically. What I thought was interesting, actually, I didn't know this. Thailand was never colonized by England. So like, go Thailand, because England fucking was like, here, I'm putting a flag here. You're mine now, and apparently they never did that to Thailand. So like, good on you. Okay, you escaped British rule, which is nice. In 1932, they basically were like, fuck the absolute monarchy, because all the monarchies in the world were collapsing. And they're like, no, let's do a constitutional monarchy. So that's basically what England has now, where like, there's a royal family, they're like figureheads, they have like ceremonial roles, they have some degree of power, but really parliament is what rules everything. And that there's like an election process with them. So it's kind of constitutional, like where there's like representation of the people, but like there still is a royal family that like exists.
What do they do then?
What does
I don't understand
British
the royal family stuff.
royal family
It's
do?
okay.
Basically they're like the head of parliament, essentially. So they like bring parliament into session, and like I think they have some voting power. So they do play a role ceremonially in the government, but they don't, it's not like I say this, it's therefore it's law. Like it still has to go through parliament, but they have some like sway basically. That's all I know. Go watch The Crown if you want to learn more about that, because they do talk about their role in Parliament.
But they're basically just a figurehead. They don't really do a whole lot.
It's a lot of it's ceremonial, a lot of it's
Yeah.
diplomacy, but like they do have a role in the Parliament. Like it's not like they just sit there and look pretty. Like they do like bring things to session. Like they have a ceremonial role, but they can't be like it's not absolute where they're like, this is the law now. The Parliament makes the law. They're kind of like, and they have some voting power. I just don't know the specifics.
Yeah.
But they have some power, but it's not absolute power, and a lot of it is like figurehead diplomacy kind of stuff. I assume Thailand is very similar based on what I found, because it's like the similar setup. But unlike England, a bunch of parts throughout history since that was instituted, like they were under like military rule. So this is what you were talking about with YouTube. So from 2014, 2017, they were under military rule. So like basically like fuck Parliament, the military was in charge. That's almost like absolute monarchy in a way, where like the head of the military was in charge of everything, I assume. But during that time period, what they did is they made YouTube off limits. Actually, they censored a lot of internet. YouTube is one of the things that they censored by the government, because essentially there was a video that was there that was considered offensive to the monarchy. So what would have been like Sam's family. And they basically were like, fuck this. And they banned all access to YouTube, amongst other websites. And a lot of it was like websites where like could have sparked rebellion kind of thing. So let's see. I already said that. Okay. So we talked about what the royal family does and doesn't do. So succession. So how do you like get the next monarch? So traditionally it was males only, kind of like what you think of like, okay, so it goes to like the firstborn son, that becomes the next ruler, and kind of the line gets passed down that way. So it's males only. But in 1974, they amended it in Parliament and made it possible for like a princess to like be named successor. So the concept of the show, like if something crazy were to happen, like it's possible that like Sam's family could be in, even though it's all daughters, they could be in line, because women can succeed the throne kind of thing. If like everybody else was wiped out, basically. Yeah. Not that that would happen, but theoretically. Like England, basically, which is common with like any kind of monarchy, usually there's a religion that kind of keeps their lets them hold on to power, because like if God said that I'm in charge, like people are more likely to be like, okay, yes, I'll follow you. So in Thailand, that's Buddhism. So like the royal family, they have to be Buddhists, basically. Let's see. And I think this is important because there's some scenes later with like Mon's family where they have interesting behavior. And I think it kind of ties back to this, like the Buddhism thing. And I'll bring it up when we get there, but I wanted to talk about it now. So the legend now about the royal family is that the king, the first king, was an incarnation of the god Vishnu, who is basically one of the Buddhist gods. And so basically, because the kings are reincarnated gods, therefore, like, they're worth worshiping, and people, they're not the same as everybody else. Like, it's another gap, if you will. Like, they're not only their royalty, they're like divine in a way. And because of that, like, link to religion, they can claim moral authority and that their blood is pure and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so the reason I think that's important is because there's some behaviors with certain people with Sam, like you notice with Mon's family, whenever they're with her, they sit very straight up. Anytime Sam lowers herself, they lower themselves. It's very much like my head can never be above the God kind of thing. So they kind of like behave like that around Sam. So I think this thinking of like royalty equals divine is still kind of prevalent in like, older generations. Which is probably why Sam gets away with so much shit she probably could have been getting away with, because like people think she's part God, right? So I thought that was interesting. That's the monarchy. So, all right. So basically Sam doesn't have a lot of power as being a member of the royal family, but she inherits a bunch of money. It's a lot of respect. There's an element of she's divine by her bloodline kind of thing. And so it gives her this like unique social status kind of thing. All right, back to the bullshit. So the grandmother very much has drunk this Kool-Aid about the royal family. And because of that, puts impossible expectations on the oldest, always the oldest, because the oldest is the heir, because women can inherit things. They, otherwise the grandmother probably would have been like to her daughter or son or whatever, be like, you need to have a boy. That never comes up. It's just she laser focuses on the oldest. And so Sam's sisters do not handle this well. I don't know what that was. My webcam is dumb. All right. Sam's sisters don't handle being the heir very well. So Lady Nuang pieces the fuck out immediately and just lives her best life. And when she leaves, Lady Song, the middle child, now becomes the new heir. The grandmother starts putting all her focus on Song. And then she eventually escapes because she can't live her life. And that does not end well. And ultimately, it leaves Sam as the last remaining successor. And grandmother's sole focus. So really, with Sam, a lot of the problem is like, she inherited all this expectation that was never supposed to be hers to begin with. Like, she's the third child. Like, she was never supposed to be in this position. And like overnight, her life completely changes, and like suddenly she's the heir. Like, and I think that fucks her up so badly. And not only that, like now she has no sisters. Like, it just, she's alone and now the heir. Like that's a lot for a child.
It is, and they aren't allowed to do what makes them happy. Like, basically, they're just, anything that makes you happy, you're probably not allowed to do it. And the scene where, like, we learn this is, I feel like it's very sad. Because the grandmother burns all of Lady Nyung's paintings. And it's something so simple that makes her so happy. But the grandmother says she's a disgraceful grandchild because of it. Because of paintings. And then she burns it all.
I think it's more so that like she wanted to do that as a profession. That was the problem. It wasn't that she was painting per se.
Why is she burning the paintings?
Because she's like, you cannot be this. You are the heir. That's the statement she's making here. Like, and that is the problem. The heir has to be a certain way according to grandmother. And, Lady Nuang was not about that. She's like, no, this is what makes me happy. This is what I want to do. And grandmother's like, no, you can't be the heir and do this. So Nuang's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And she leaves. And you notice later, she's still painting. She's like, I followed my passion, my dream. I gave up my inheritance. I gave up the divinity, the royalty. I'm a starving artist begging Sam for money. But like, whatever, I'm happy.
So, begging everyone for money, actually.
That was the funniest scene.
That was very funny.
That was so funny.
But
anyway, yeah. But it is sad. It's a compromise, though. Do you want to be powerful or do you want to be a starving artist? And like the sister's like, I want to be an artist, and she just did it.
Yeah.
Which says a lot about her,
I mean, it worked out well for her, but we can't say too much for Lady Song.
Oh no,
Lady Song
trigger warning.
Also queer, and grandmother did not take that very well, like at all. So the grandmother hits Song because she says that she won't break up with Ice. Ice is her girlfriend.
Kaitlynn, it was on her birthday too, which is the fucked up part about all of this. That was her birthday present, a slap from grandma. Just saying.
I'm surprised the grandmother remembered her birthday.
She's the heir. She had to remember.
Okay, fine. But no wonder Sam is terrified of her. Like, and because it's like the exact same thing that she's going through.
Correct.
But she doesn't have someone to talk to. Like, at least Song has Ice to, like, be comforted by. Sam has no one. And so Sam is terrified, but at least the other two are probably happier without having to live up to these expectations because they got out. And I do want to note that I wrote this fact before the car crash, okay? But maybe Song is happier dead than having to deal with grandmother. Wow.
Yeah.
I did want to, so there's one part, like, so after she gets slapped or like hit in the face, she takes the most dramatic fall.
Oh yes.
I laughed so hard and I was like, this is not the point of this scene, but it was like the most dramatic, and then she just falls and I was like, oh man. So
okay.
it was very funny.
That scene though is hilarious though, because she's like obviously like fleeing and she's so upset. And if you see the house later, it's a giant fucking house and there's like one tiny table with the cake on it, and she beelines for the table with the cake and like falls into the cake. It's like I'm like, you had 30 feet around you to walk, not walk at that. And it's so like soap opera-y. It
Yeah.
makes me laugh every single time, even though like it's a really sad scene. I was like, this is unnecessary, and I love it. I love that it's in here. There was no need for this.
It feels like they were trying to lighten the mood a little bit, because like it is really heavy, and it is a really like scary queer thing to experience, and people have experienced similar things. So like it kind of felt like they were trying to lighten the mood a little bit. And so it was just very dramatic.
It definitely lightened the mood for me. I don't know if that was the intention, because like Song falls into her birthday cake. So to me, I think it's supposed to show like her entire birthday. Like this is supposed to be a happy moment. And like now she's devastated, and she falls to the ground with the birthday cake, which is like blow out the candles, hope. So it's like the collapse of her hope. I just thought it was funny because I was like, this is unnecessary. And I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And like this was an avoidable situation. There's 30 feet of clear space.
Mhm.
You did not need to do this, but I love it. I think it's funny. Sorry, Song, but like that was pretty funny. Not gonna lie. Okay. So yeah, trigger warning. So Song in a mess, like gets out of there and starts driving, which like don't drive when you're upset. That's a bad idea. She basically calls Ice and she's like, yep, told grandma, and now we can be together. Save me because I'm sad. And is driving to Ice, I guess. Like they don't really make plans. She just starts driving. And basically gets hit by a car because she runs a light. And so they go to the hospital, and she basically doesn't make it through the surgery. She just like dies. But like everyone convenes at the hospital at some point. It's like Ice is already there. And what's sad about this scene is basically this is why like when people are like, what's the big deal? Why do you need to legally be married? Because of all of the stuff that comes with that. So the problem with not having same-sex couples, same-sex relationships legally binding and recognized is this scene when Song goes to the hospital and she's trying to get the doctors to tell her what's going on. And they're like, are you a direct family member? If you're not, I can't tell you anything. You're not her spouse, obviously, because you're not a man. So I cannot tell you anything like legally. The guy even says like, I wish I could tell you, like showing that he's open-minded, but he's like, legally, I can't tell you anything. So this is like, I think it's a good message in here to be like, this is why marriage equality is so important on a legal basis. It's stuff like this that like, you know, straight couples take for granted. So Ice is completely iced out basically of this interaction. So she doesn't learn anything until like the grandmam and Sam show up, because grandmam's like, that's my granddaughter. Tell me what the fuck's going on. And they're like, and the doctor's like, oh yeah, okay, you're here. She's dead. She didn't make it. She's dead. That bitch is dead. And so everybody breaks down dramatically. And I want to talk about how the grandmam treats Ice, because remember, young impressionable Sam is here. And Sam, when Song was like, no, I'm going to tell grandma. I'm going to tell her. Sam is in the background going like, no, don't tell her, because she's a coward. And like Sam's like, I would have done this. And then the end result is not only is her sister dead, but she witnesses how Ice is treated by the grandmother. The grandmother turns on her immediately and blames Ice for Song's death. She's like, if it wasn't for you, my granddaughter would still be alive. She's like hitting her with her, like little domestic violence with her purse. And Sam watching this and is being like, oh shit. So I think like later on when Sam is basically turning into her, you know, older sister, I think there's an extra layer of fear here, because she saw exactly how this scenario plays out. If I tell my grandmother, not only would it potentially end badly for me, but more importantly, like my partner might get like abused by and who knows what the grandmother did to that girl afterwards. Like she's a very powerful woman. Like, did she threaten her family? Did she like exile her from Thailand somehow?
Did she
like,
put a hit on her?
Right. I was so worried she was going to do that to Mon at some point. I'm like, we're getting into mafia territory at this point. She's like, I will eliminate you. Like, so I think like for Sam, like she has every right to totally be afraid like later, because she watches her life play out like right here, and it's not good. She learns something from every sister. From Nuang, she learns never speak your mind freely, because she taught her that lesson where she's at the piano and she's like, I look happy, but I'm not happy. I'm just trying to appease grandma. Till they get her to leave me alone so I can paint in private. And then from Song, she basically learned, don't be gay. Don't tell your grandmother you're gay, because that will end horribly. So, you know, she's a deeply traumatized person. And the sad part is, like you're saying, now that all her sisters are basically gone, like Sam is literally alone in that giant house with her grandmother. That is the only person she has. And so she's young and very impressionable. And so you really can't blame Sam for a lot of her behavior later and how she turns out, because she's trapped. She is a trapped child who doesn't know any better. And, you know, this culture is very like, places a lot of respect on elders. Like it's elder revering in a way where like what the elders say kind of goes. And she's growing up with an elder. So, it's no surprise that Sam turns out the way she does. Like, this was so traumatizing. Like, I'm surprised she was as adjusted as she was. Like, this is a lot,
Yeah, and I think another thing to just like reiterate is like Sam was there for each of the sisters just like leaving her life. The reasons behind why like they both left. Like she was there. She witnessed everything. It wasn't like it was done and they just left her and they didn't explain what happened. Like that's traumatic in itself, but then this is a whole nother level of trauma of she saw everything. And like that's a lot. That's a lot to put on a child like that too.
And it's heartbreaking every time something like that happened. She would try to like go after her sister and like comfort them. Like her first reflex is to go comfort her sister, but then the grandmother's always like, no, Sam, stay where you are. And then she would just like immediately listen to her grandmother. Like, it's really sad. There's so that conflict of like what Sam wants versus like doing what her grandmother wants, like is there the whole time. And it's like this endless cycle for her that it gets harder and harder for her to break out of. Like it's really tragic. I love me some tragic characters, and like Sam is very tragic. Like it's sucks. Something else I want to note that I think is also really interesting. I think I put it later, but I'm gonna say it now. What's interesting about Sam too is not only those like her only support system is the grandmother, but if you notice, like her only non-familial support system are the friends she made prior to losing her sisters. So like her friend group is the same friend group from like high school. So we saw it in like Mon sees them later, like T, Jim, and Cade. They're her only friends, like still. And she was friends with them before all this shit went down with the sisters, before she was traumatized. And then Kirk, I don't remember if he was introduced by the grandmother or if like they knew each other from childhood. I think it's implied they knew each other from childhood, but like that was the only time Sam made friends was like before all this trauma happened. After the trauma, Sam does not bond with anybody else until she meets Mon, which is insanely sad. Like, so she's just so lonely and isolated, and it's like she can't bond with people. It's really sad. Like, I feel so bad.
I mean, would you be able to bond with anybody if everything you're told is you can't do that, you can't be that, you can't say how you feel? Like, who's going to be friends with you also?
Yeah,
like,
and so I find it really interesting that she's still friends with Cade, T, and Jim, because they mention later the grandmother doesn't like them. And she's still friends with them. So I find it really interesting that like she lets the grandmother control her life to a certain degree, whereas like she's like, I'm not willing to give up my friends though, that have always been there for me. She like does stick with them, which says a lot about Sam's character, like underneath all the trauma,
Yeah, it also shows how queer people just find each other.
Yes. No, like for real.
Yeah. How like, because I mean, she clearly didn't know she was queer, but she found all the queers at her school probably.
She did. One thing I love in the flashback though is when, okay, for some reason, like Song takes Sam to go when she meets up with Ice, and Sam is just sitting there and just this is like, you guys are so cute. I love that moment where she's like, oh, look at you guys. Like, not a judgmental sister at all. She's just like, you guys are so cute.
Yeah.
That's your future, girl.
I know. And who's to say that the older sister is, there's no way that the older sister is not queer.
Oh my God.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
She's fluid.
Well, did you see her hair color too? Like, look at the dyed hair and like just.
I'm here for it. I'm here for that whole family being queer as fuck. I love it. Okay. So that was the flashbacks. So let's jump into the present where Sam and Mon actually meet in episode 1. So let's just go through this. I, first of all, love how the show opens. It opens with Mon immediately talking about being crazy in love. Okay. That's her first line. I didn't do that, Kaitlynn. That's actually the line. She's like, have you ever been crazy in love before? Then she mentions Sam is her one and only idol. And then goes up to the stalker wall and plants a kiss on Sam. Sam's
the stalker wall.
The stalker wall. How does she not know she's gay? I don't understand this because she's like, then she has like almost a making out dream with Sam. And I'm like, girl, what does idol worshipping mean to you? I just want to know. And I'm like, ish.
Yeah.
I love it. It just immediately opens up with Mon being thirsty as fuck. Like immediately.
I mean, it's a great way to start the show, though.
Great. I'm
Like
here for that.
Yeah.
But I was confused when they're like, "Oh, Mon doesn't know she's attracted to Sam." I'm like, how? That's all you've been showing me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's two, like, from our point of view. Yeah, obviously they're attracted to each other. They have been since the moment that Mon has like laid eyes on Lady Sam. Like, she was like, "What is this goddess? Like, who is this?" But then, I mean, it's when it's such a like a repressed thing, and when you're like, it can't be that. No, definitely not.
She's literally daydreaming about kissing her.
Right, that's where I'm confused. I understand, like, being like, I'm really obsessed with this person, I don't know why, but she literally has a daydream, like multiple daydreams, where she almost kisses Sam. And I'm like, how does that not click? This is your daydream. Your brain is conjuring this. Like, can you see?
Repression.
It's repression. And I will say, okay, I say this to be funny just because I'm pointing, this made me laugh when I was watching it. And I'm like, Mon, how could you? But I understand there are people who like go through different journeys and who just don't figure it out till later. And that's totally fine. I'm not making fun of you if this was your experience and it took you a while to figure it out. I'm not. When Mon's brain is conjuring almost making out with her, that's where I'm confused. The rest of it I get. I need to point that out because that is literally how it opens. And then Mon's like, "What do you mean I like Sam?" And I'm like, "Oh my god." Okay. Anyway, so let's talk about the stalker wall or the Sam shrine. So she looks at it, and there's like literally pictures of Sam everywhere, and pictures of her next to Sam. Again, like, come on now. There's also a picture of a still from Inside Out, the Disney movie, which I caught when I was making the screenshot, and I was like, "Huh." So. Thoughts, anyone, on why Mon has this on her Sam shrine?
So when I saw this, I was like, "Damn thing!" I had to text her about it. I'm like, "That's amazing! Like, that's so random to be on this wall.
It's so random."
And I definitely did not catch that. But I love that she has this photo because it is a great movie. And since that movie, I have quite a bit of thoughts about this. Apparently, like, this is something I just wanted to go all in on.
Please go.
So, since that movie is all about how important your emotions are, I'm thinking it symbolizes how confident Mon is with, like, who she is and her feelings. She seems very in tune, or attuned, I guess. Yeah. I don't remember writing that word, but whatever. Yeah, doesn't matter. Right. Rather than Sam, who tries to push everything down. So she, like, understands it all. But then I looked again. Okay? So, like, I did many, many takes of this. So this photo is when all the emotions are looking at the land created by core memories. And I'm thinking it could also be that Sam was her core memory growing up, and it built who she is today.
Yes. Oh man, that's so good, Kaitlynn. Kaitlynn wins the analysis award. Damn, that's good. Yeah, because like Sam is 100% her core memory. It might be her only memory. That's why she has to keep like all these photos around, because she's like, I need the memory out of my brain, and it puts it deeper. No, that's real good. I love that.
This one will not be crushed.
Yeah. Okay, if you had to though, if they were a character in the movie, who is Mon and who is Sam? Which emotion?
Sam is probably disgust.
You don't think Sam's anger?
Anger. I was
0 to 100, like, all the time.
Sam's face reminds me of disgust for some reason. And then Mon, I feel... Well, I mean, we're very limited with the emotions that we have.
Well, yeah. I know, but
in the first movie. We get more in the second one that's not out yet. But I think Mon is pretty much joy.
I think so too. That's why they're grumpy and sunshine, like sunshine and happy. Like, yeah, I agree. Okay. All right, so they go on this train because this. Anyway, so then shit gets more confusing for us because then Mon and Yuri are getting ready to go out to this concert, and Nop mentions the term idol. So I didn't know what this meant for a while because I think this means something. It obviously means something different in like Asian cultures in Thailand. So he's like, haha, idol's not really my thing. And then they get to what looks like a concert. And then when Mom's at the stage, like Sam is on the stage. So naturally, at the beginning of this, we all thought Sam was a singer because we're talking about idols. She mentions the word idols. Then we get to the idols, and the idols are singers. And I was like, okay, so Sam's a singer. So I was so confused for like the first few episodes because I'm like, is she a singer who also has a company? Like, when did she start singing? There's never
It has to be a beauty company because all the singers have beauty companies.
Right. I was like, is this like a sponsorship company? Like, what is this company? So I don't think it necessarily means like singer. I think it just means celebrity. Like idol means like is synonymous with celebrity. So Sam is a celebrity because she's royalty, and like you know that's why you know so we freaking what is it? People magazine had like one of the royal members from England on it today. Like they're not pop singers, but they're celebrities just by like their status kind of thing. So I think it's the same thing with Sam. Why on earth Mon is conjuring her singing and dancing? That's something Mon should think about a little bit more deeply.
Therapy.
Girl, what?
Okay. So when I started rewatching it again, I finally realized what was going on, and that they were going to see Yuri's idols.
Yes.
Which made Mon daydream that her idol Sam was actually performing.
Correct.
Oh, see, I'm telling you, they
Again.
like mess with the lighting funny. Like there's not enough distinction between reality and dreamland or
Dreamland.
Yeah, well, kind of. Like
okay, but also how does this end? It ends the daydream with Mon a breath away from making out with Sam. So cool that she's thinking about her idol, but this is how she's thinking about her idol. And what I'm getting from this is that Mon has been conjuring sexy daydreams about Sam for like who knows how long this has been going on. And she has two in this one episode. So it's like her daydreams,
you know.
I'm like, girl,
but
just lean in.
So
get it
we
over
talked about her saying that she didn't know that she was gay until she met Sam. But I'm like, is it when she first met her as a child or when she's older at work? Because like she's very gay in these fantasies.
I know. And like I'm pretty sure Yuri knows. Yuri, sorry, that's on the book. Yuki. I'm pretty sure Yuki knows because she's the way she talks to Mon in this opening scene. Like later when she gets the job, Yuki's like, "Your head might explode." Yeah, Yuki's the friend. She's like, "You might actually start exploding if Sam starts singing," and I'm like, "Yeah, like exploding in all the ways." Like, I think your friend is like, I think you're a little too into her. I think you're into her the way I'm into these men.
Which I believe Nancy told us are the same people from...
They're also from Idol Factory, I think.
Secret Crush on You?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of how they're tying the two take the two shows together.
Which I'm fine. I love that meta-ness. So that means those two guys were actually into each other? Because that's how we were reading it when we were watching the reaction video.
I don't know. I didn't watch the show.
I still think they're into each other. Anyway, that's all about that. I don't know if you guys had anything more to say about this dream, this very platonic dream that Mon is having about Sam.
I'm telling you, it's just like repression. It's just like, it is not that you can have dreams and not have feelings. Like, it's fine. Like, everything's fine and the world is just on fire around you, you know? Like, that's kind of... What?
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. Just fine.
It's just idol worship.
Yeah. Just normal idols.
It's just normal. Yeah, I mean, Yuki does it with her men, so it must be fine.
Must be fine.
Okay. Other aspect of the show that I thought was interesting and also terrible is that Mon is like half Thai, half British, like her dad's English. And so she faces low-key racism the minute she is like onboarded into like Sam's company. I felt so bad for her because the whole time they're like, "Oh, you speak our language," and then they're like, "You look very pale," and like all this stuff. Like she's constantly facing like racism, and like she handles it very nicely. But like, I feel bad for Mon because that's not nice. That's not nice.
No. Okay. No, but I mean, it's a thing that does happen.
For sure.
Yeah. And in like, if you're used to only having a lot of one ethnicity, and then somebody has a mixed ethnicity. Like we in America are kind of lucky, I guess, in the sense that, like, in the sense that
I
we
know.
have, like, we have tons of, like, there's not, lucky's not the right
We're
word.
the melting pot.
We're the melting
That's
pot.
what I thought was cool.
That would make people accepting here. No,
It doesn't.
No, it
makes them
doesn't.
worse.
Yeah, but
it makes
like,
no sense. But continue.
we just have a lot of people, a lot of different people here versus a more ethnically, like a singular ethnicity in a country.
Homogenous, I guess.
Homogenous, yes, thank you. So I think it's more of a, like,
she sticks out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
and it's not
you're
her fault.
different. Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you speak our language. Because that was a huge thing. But the irony for me is that the company's name is called Diversity. And then they're like giving her crap for like being like they call her a halvesy at one point. I'm like, that's not how was the translation.
That sounds like such an American thing to do.
Oh my god, be low-key racist to their face? Absolutely.
And have your
I'm not
company
saying
be
we're
called Diversity.
Oh my god. To what? Call it Diversity?
Yeah, have a company called Diversity and be the least diverse company
right,
ever.
Exactly. So I found that funny. Not funny, but like ironic. Funny.
I like that we eventually found out the name of the company.
Yes, I'm so confused.
The first episode we were watching was we were going like all over the place. Like, is it just the company? Is it just about SEO? Like, just
our first episode was basically theorizing what the hell the show is about.
Yes.
So I'm glad we figured out it was the company's name is Diversity. Which
exactly.
Yeah.
And it took a very hot minute to figure out what the hell the company even did. Because they don't really explain what's happening and what Mon's doing. So very quickly, like, I don't know exactly what the whole company does, but the section that Mon gets onboarded into is the content creation department for, I still don't really understand what they do. And my question,
a digital marketing firm.
Okay. And so, digital marketing firm. Okay. And this is the content creation department. My question, though, is how the fuck are they paying all these people? There are so many people just in this department. So this implies there are multiple departments, because how are they paying rent is my question. And these people.
I got a theory.
Do it.
So maybe Sam was given quite a bit of startup money to begin with, because, they're rich.
Royalty.
And I'm assuming Kirk and Sam had to, like, sweet talk grandmother into this or something. But like it was like part of the deal or something. Yeah,
I mean that is kind of what I assumed with it as well, because it feels like that. I mean, that doesn't really get mentioned really how this works, because they don't seem to be making a profit at the beginning.
What I'm saying, and it's year 4 into the company. So getting startup money is one thing, but it's year 4 and they have one Facebook page.
Yes.
How are they paying all these people?
She's got power. She can get people to give her money and finance it.
Then why is she struggling? If that's the case, like the whole crux of right now is that she's coming up with her.
She probably has to pay back.
She obviously like struck a deal with the grandmother to like not be married and to be like, let me try and be a businesswoman for like 5 years. If I succeed, you'll let me keep doing it. And if not, I'll be like you and marry Kirk and have heirs or whatever. So we're coming up on the last year of the original deal. And like things are not going well. So I'm just like, how is she paying these people if like it's not going well? It's year 4.
Maybe she has 5 years of pay, like not just startup money. It's so like
much money. There's so many people in that office. Although she does comment, she's like, Mon, I don't pay you enough to like buy me gifts. So like she's aware she's underpaying everybody. So like maybe, she's, capitalist at heart, I suppose.
Or she doesn't pay her enough to get her the gift that she would want.
Well, obviously. I mean, she does though. She gets the gift she wants. Okay, so anyway, in this scene too, we're introduced like when Mon first get through all the people she's gonna be working with. I want to point out one person in particular that I have a problem with, and I will bring up many, many times. The head of HR, which is Noi. I'm just Noi. I will circle back to her later because I think she should be fired. Okay. All right. Then we get into Sam and Mon's reunion, which is a complete disaster. Like, it's just a mess, and I love it. There's gay staring, obviously, across the room, because that's how you meet somebody that you've been, like, pining for a decade, Sam says absolutely nothing to Mon. She's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. And then just in front of Mon and everybody, proceeds to just fire 2 people. So this is, like, Mon's introduction to the company is just Sam firing people. Which, wow, what a first day.
Yeah, what a first day.
That's terrible. I hope my first day at my new job does not go like that.
Well, so when Sam does walk into the building, Mon is just standing there in the way of the thing, not moving, like a deer in headlights, like not making eye contact, but like watching it was like, just sit down, please, just sit down. We just sit down. Just there's so many empty chairs. Please sit down.
You know what the office setup reminds me of, like in school where nobody wants to sit at the front of the class? That's what the office, like, everybody's in the back, like as far away from Sam's office as possible, and Mon gets a front row seat. But yeah, she's like literally Star Trek. And that is a really good point. Something to bring up early on is that eye contact, Mon does not do that, like with Sam in the beginning. We'll get to that later. But through the firing, Mon learns the cardinal rule of the office, which is like literally don't date other employees, which I feel like should be something Noi, ma'am, puts into their paperwork when they start, is like, don't fuck your employees. Like, isn't that like standard office etiquette that you have to sign? So this shouldn't be surprising that people are getting fired for this. Like, I feel like they shouldn't have to sign contracts. But I love that Sam's like, she's like, listen, if you want to be together, go somewhere else. No office romances, because good last words there, Sam. We'll see how that works out for you in a minute.
But I'm really confused about this, because isn't Sam breaking that already anyway with Kirk?
Yes.
Not that she wants to, but still.
I wonder if like it doesn't count, quote, because he's not really in the office.
That, or Lady Sam is not actually in love with Kirk.
Yeah, there's no romance there.
There's no romance.
To everyone else, they think they're
I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't count, you know?
Again, Noi should be fired. Like, Noi should be fired. Like, where's HR?
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, no. Sam is a hypocrite in this whole situation. Like, even from the jump, like you're saying, Kaitlynn. Okay, so let's get into the gay stuff. So, while that's Mon's first introduction to everything, later she physically runs into Sam, or falls into her, we'll say. Not once, but twice. And the second time we get this ridiculous bracelet incident, which it's very contrived, obviously. So the incident is that Mon's hair gets caught in Sam's bracelet, and Sam's freaking out that her hair is going to damage the bracelet, which, like, is that the softest gold on the planet? Like, how is that going to damage your bracelet, girl? I understand it's trying to demonstrate that Sam has no feelings for people, and she's here for her shiny toys that make her happy, but what was the scene? It's contrived and meant to be comedic, but, like, it's hair.
And you can see like Mon holding the hair into the bracelet, and like they're just like moving it, like it's so funny.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. But like, again, it's slapping Mon in the face with the fact that Sam has changed and she's not that loving person she first met. But oh my god, was that scene hilarious? Because it's like, guys, just like breathe and like pull the hair out. It's really not that challenging.
Or I mean, if you have to, just cut it. Like,
I mean, Sam was already there. She's like, I'm gonna cut your hair, because I'm like, guys, try harder.
Just try harder.
All right, after her first day of fuckery at the office, Mon goes home and we meet Nop, which is her childhood friend.
I thought it was Nope. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Continue.
I think it's Nop.
It's Nop.
Right.
She says it. And personally, I didn't like him in the beginning, because especially in this scene, because he acts like basically like the unrequited love interest for Mon, where he's like been her friend. He's basically like considers her family his family. Like he calls her parents like mom and dad, basically. And in this scene, he basically is trying to act like her boyfriend, even though like he's not. So he's being possessive of her in like this way that she's not reciprocating. So it felt creepy in the beginning. Like, oh, some men are to women, where they're like, I think if I try harder, she'll eventually want to date me. And she's like, no, I don't want to date you. But I love the course of their relationship as the show goes on, because he actually like turns into like this super ride or die for her that has these beautiful conversations with her later in the course of like her queer journey that I really appreciate. So their friendship evolution is one of my favorite aspects of the show, honestly.
It really confused me when he called the parents mom and dad, though. So it's like, I thought he was the stepfather's son.
I mean, that's fair, but it's like a cultural thing and a sign of respect to like call her dad. And like when Sam comes over, she calls like her mom auntie. Like they're not related, but basically it's a sign of respect to be like, you know, I respect you kind of thing. And like for Mon to call Sam's grandmother, like it's a respect thing. But I understand that it seems confusing in the beginning, but the context of him trying to act like her boyfriend makes it hopefully not incest.
I know, I was very confused. I didn't like him in the beginning.
Yeah, it's valid.
Yeah, I didn't like that how possessive he was being, and he
Yes.
was just like, I have a like
claim over you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah,
A claim
yeah.
over her, and like this is how it's gonna end. I've already have the approval of your parents. Like I call them mom and dad. Like I'm already in this family. Like so that at the but I agree with you, Theora. Like once the relationship ends up developing into a good solid friendship and one that should hopefully like last. And,
yeah, I agree. And like it comes from Mon too, who like sets the boundary with him, and then he takes it in stride. He's like, okay, yeah, it hurts a little bit, but we've been friends forever. Let's keep being friends. So I love that. I love their friendship. Like in the end, it's really beautiful. Anything else, Kaitlynn? You had no? Okay. All right. Okay, let's go back to the dog. So in the present, the same dog is in Mon's house. Because it's a very distinct looking dog that they picked to play the dog. And I think that throughout one crime committed by Mon is that she very much underutilized the dog.
Seriously.
And Sam's love of dogs. Like that was like her ace in the card deck, and like she did not play that card properly. It took her way too long to play the dog card. Okay, I have a problem with that. Like you could have brought up this dog so much sooner and won Lady Sam over way sooner. I mean, also your dog looks the fucking same. You could have brought your dog to work and like, damn, that was really dumb. And then I love it. Somebody was like, hey, how about you take your dog to work and just tell Sam it was the other dog because they look the fucking same.
Because they are the same.
They're the same. It's the same actor dog.
Yeah.
In the subtitles, it says that the new dog is the baby of the other one.
I think they
it says, how about this? Why don't you take Sing to see her and tell her it's the baby of Sua, the dog that she asked us to keep. It's not, but
they're just wanting to make it seem like so that it's like again, still alive. Like it's
because like at this point, Mon's like, well, how could she not remember me? Which is one of the most ridiculous things on the show. I'm like, you were a child. You were both children. What do you mean? I wouldn't remember you. You look different. And Mom brings up the best point where she's like, well, maybe if she doesn't remember you, she's gonna remember the dog. Which personally, I would remember a dog over a person. So like,
and especially one that looks identical. Yeah,
this is a very distinct looking dog. Like I would remember this dog over the child that
doesn't look the same anymore.
It does not look the same. No, exactly. So this was Mon's biggest failure.
Yeah.
Mon also says something that's put a pin in for the rest of the show, where basically like she's Mon at this stage is like out of school, like graduated from university. I think the schooling system is like England. Whatever. She's graduated. She is done. This is like her first job post-graduation, basically, starting at Sam's company. So she's basically like, well, obviously I've been stalking Sam forever. And if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go back to England with my dad and just try to make my life there and start new. So Mon says this, so she's giving herself an ultimatum. Like either I do well here or I fail and I go to England. So she says that at the beginning and it comes up at the very end. So I just wanted to point that out. It must be nice to have options.
Other country options too.
Right. I'm like, I'm just going to go there if this doesn't work out. Okay. So let's talk about Sam, grandmother, and the company. So we kind of talked about this, but I think this is a very interesting detail. So Sam basically cuts this deal with her grandmother to have a career before she gets married. Because remember, if you go to the flashbacks, like,
Bye, call.
It just loudly clicked when that happened. if you go back to the flashbacks, when Sam goes with Song to see Ice, the conversation with the grandmam at that time was, Song, you just graduated. You should be getting married. Like, immediately the grandmother, after graduating, was pressuring Song to get married. So basically, Song was Mon's age when grandmother was pressuring her to get married. Sam somehow cut some deal with her to be like, listen, I'll get married after I can have a career or get my career started, basically, which is interesting. So it kind of shows that the grandmother is capable of compromising in some way, at least with Sam. Granted, Kirk is around and Song didn't have a Kirk, but still, like, she still gave her that leeway, which I find very, very interesting. So Sam has a lot of pressure on her, obviously, because she has to make this work because she doesn't fucking want to marry Kirk. She likes Kirk. So the job is constantly stressful to her because the job is something she chose. Like, this is like Nong's art. This is, you know, her choice. She keeps saying over and over again, like, this is the only thing that makes me happy. So she's trying to preserve her happiness that she chose to do. So this is not, the job is not something grandmother chose for her. This was Sam's choice. And I think that's really important because Sam hardly takes action on something she actually wants and something that is fully her choice. And the grandmother cut a 5-year deal with her. She's like, be successful in 5 years and you can keep your job, basically, and keep doing that. You don't have to be like a stay-at-home mom and like live the life I lived, basically. So to me, I kind of read this at like, in a way, it's Sam's form of rebelling because her sisters didn't get to do this. They were forced into the marriage track and being a stay-at-home mom, and like she's forcing Nong to like do pretty girl things like play the piano and entertain guests and that kind of stuff. She doesn't seem to do that with Sam. She seems to let Sam like have some autonomy as long as the grandmother can like still kind of control it and like monitor her. So in a way, it's Sam rebelling like within the confines of the rules the grandmother set up. So I find that really, really interesting. That Sam has a degree of autonomy and can do something to make the grandmother proud. She's like, I want to make you proud with this career, but like, they don't see eye to eye on like what pride is because the grandmother's like, do what I say. That will make me proud of you, which like sucks. Like, I'm sorry, poor Sam. Like, this sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that's in Sam's favor is that she's already set up with Kirk. There is a plan. There is, like, for the grandmother. Like, the grandmother's like, you're marrying him no matter what. I'll give you 5 years. Like, this is already set in stone. This is where we're going. You can have your 5 years to play around and be a fool, and then you're going into and getting married and doing what I'm telling you. So, I mean, I think that's why the grandmother is like, yeah, sure, go ahead, play your games, play, like, do what you're wanting to do, like, because you're gonna end up marrying him anyway.
Yeah, but I think what the grandmother really wants is her not to work and to be a stay-at-home mom. So the fact that she made this like stately wife or kind of thing, or arm candy or whatever the hell. But I think the fact that she made a deal where she's like, if you succeed, you can keep doing this. I think that's different for the grandmother. So like, it kind of shows that like she's capable of changing when it comes to Sam. So I think it kind of like, not foreshadows, but kind of like shows a little bit about like their relationship when you get to the end. So I don't think the end with grandmother is a huge surprise because it's kind of set up to show that like she does treat Sam differently, even though she's very much like, you need to obey me and that kind of stuff. She's willing to compromise with Sam to a degree, as long as like, again, the grandmother's still kind of getting what she wants, but like Sam is also getting what she wants. So like the compromise is still there. It's not off the limits entirely.
I think that's the fear of like the grandmother's fear of losing another grandchild then, like she's kind of giving in because this is the last heir or grandchild left in the family.
Yeah, like, no, that's a really good question. I think that's definitely part of it, but I think that Sam was always her favorite.
She's also the baby.
Because I think it's because she's the baby. Because as the baby, the grandmother's expectations were never on her until there's nobody else. So like Sam had the luxury to like just be the loving, fun, carefree child with the grandmother. Like she's always the one with the grandmother, like comforting her and stuff. And as the baby with no expectations on her, she had the privilege of being in that role. But once like the role switched and now she's the heir, like that's when everything started kind of changing and she had to like kind of hide herself and like start behaving differently. And so I think that they had a stronger relationship than the other siblings had with the grandmother. And I think that's what what persists. But I think that fear for the grandmother's absolutely there, that like, this is my last grandchild. Like, you know, because like it's very old school way of thinking where it's like you have to pass on the bloodline, you have to pass on the divinity, like the royalty. Like I think that's very much influencing her grandmother, and like that very much you do as I say kind of like mentality. That's very like conservative thinking versus like progressive thinking. So the grandmother is very much like the conservative figure, and the one with all the power in this family. And like as the, you know, the matriarch of the family, like yeah, you do what they say. That's part of the culture. But so I think it is interesting she does do compromises with Sam, despite that, her having that, you know, the grandmam having that authority.
Right.
But I definitely think that's part of it. She's afraid that like this is my last chance. Like, and notice it's never her fault. It's always like, well, Nong, you're just a terrible person. And Song, it was Ice that did it. Like,
right.
Her inability to see her own faults, I think, is part of what's causing this whole clusterfuck. You know. All right. And so, okay, let's get to the Sam and Mon stuff. So as the episode kind of goes on, I think what's interesting about Sam and Mon is that Sam gets really intrigued by Mon, because Mon is the very first person to challenge her in a very, very long time. The grandmam aside, the grandmother has been challenging her forever. This is somebody who like shouldn't be challenging Sam, but does. Like even Kirk is a humongous pushover, like huge. And so what I find really interesting is that from the beginning, Mon does have power over Sam. I'm going to talk about their power dynamics a lot, because that's part of the gap thing between them. There's a power imbalance for a number of reasons. But Mon does have power over Sam. It takes her a very long time to realize she has that. But I think Sam kind of recognizes it on some level. And so she kind of like gives in a little bit without like being a pushover. But I think she finds that intriguing. Like when somebody challenges you, it's interesting. And it's a fun dynamic. So if you look at them, like Mon has like soft power, where she can kind of like influence Sam without Sam realizing it. Whereas Sam has like tangible power. Like she's the boss, she is royalty, she has money, like all of those things that like very overt power. Versus Mon has this like soft power. And like Sam doesn't know how to handle it, really. She just, it like short circuits her brain a little bit, which makes their dynamic a lot of fun. And I think Sam says it out loud to Mon, like when she kind of challenges her, she's like, you're the first person since I've started this company to ever like challenge me, which is fun. But Mon, again, like from the flashback to now, she's somebody who isn't afraid to fight for what she believes in. She isn't afraid to like say how she feels and like stand up for herself and what she wants, which is something Sam does not possess at all, because Sam is a pushover. And so it's like another gap. And so Sam's like, okay, you want to challenge me? I challenge you. And this is when she challenges her to get this ridiculous amount of followers for their second Facebook page, or she's fired. And she has 1 month, like 500K followers in 1 month.
Hold on. It's not her Facebook page because they're not even on Facebook, right?
No, they're on Facebook. That's the only thing they're on. And they have a website. It's the website page, I think, is what they're trying to get.
Yeah.
This is insane.
They're just creating diversity pop, too.
Correct.
Like, this is brand new.
Brand fucking new.
Yeah.
But, like, I would have quit immediately.
Yeah. This is crazy. What a crazy, like, but again, it's Sam, like, wielding her power that she just gets. This is the problem I have with them in the beginning. It's just the boss employee thing. Because Sam has the authority to wield this insane power over Mon because she's her boss. And Mon doesn't really have autonomy here. Like, Mon's option is quit and give up on your dream. Which is really harsh and, like, fucked up, you know?
But it's kind of hot because Mon is like, bet, like, we got this, we're gonna do it, we're gonna rock this, like, I will show you. And so, like, I'm kind of here for that. Like, I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
That's true. Mon likes challenges, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, Lady Sam just in herself is a challenge, and that is very queer.
I think that's partially why Mon's intrigued. I think she's a challenge in multiple ways. It's challenging because she's like, I thought I knew you and I don't. And also like, you're literally a puzzle and a mystery, like aside from all of that. Yeah, so it is fun. Later, they go out to this welcome to the team dinner for Mon, which is awkward as fuck. let's just, okay. Because Sam's there and it's just making everyone uncomfortable. So I love that Kirk is like the party guy. He's like, yeah, don't listen to her. Let drinks are on me. Like everybody don't quit. So that's fun. But something I want to point out from this dinner that I think is important and is something that constantly gets sprinkled out throughout the show is like the food thing. So when they sit down to eat, it's important to note that like Mon tries to start eating and everybody's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't eat first. Lady Sam is the honorable guest. She has to start the meal kind of thing. Like it's a ceremony thing. But Sam like feeds Mon. Like she takes, like without saying anything, she just like grabs the piece of whatever she ate. She's like, oh, this is good. And gives it to Mon. She doesn't give it to Kirk. Like she gives it to Mon. Okay. So I find this a very interesting detail because like Kirk did it to Sam when they were having dinner with the grandmother a couple of scenes ago. To me, it reads as like this affectionate kind of gesture. Like the transfer of food is like, you know, like food's a love language kind of thing. Like it kind of like reads like this like unconscious thing that Sam is doing. And she does it like throughout the entire show. Like Sam constantly is like almost like showing affection to Mon like immediately. So I think that's an interesting little like detail. I don't know if you guys read that differently, but I thought that was a
hot
cute little thing.
It's just hot. Like
put it in her mouth.
Yeah. It's I think it was a nice, like, cause it was the dinner was very tense.
Yeah.
Like it was, but like,
oh my God,
comedically tense.
Yeah.
Like, so it was a funny to watch it. It was a funny situation, but like you can feel the tension. And then, so this kind of also was a like breaking of the tension also, where they were like, it was almost like she was, I can see how you're reading it as an affection. I'm also seeing it as like, I'm accepting you as part of this team.
Like a peace offering.
It's also a peace offering, but it's also unknown sexual tension.
Oh, for sure. Yes. That's where my affection was coming from. I was like, because Kirk did it. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I agree. Because like it almost like, it also like puts them in their own little world in this like moment, despite being in a crowd, which I thought was also a nice little touch. And it keeps happening like this. So I like that it starts in the beginning and like Sam consistently keeps doing that. Alrighty. Any other thoughts about episode 1 before we move on to episode 2?
No.
All right, let's move on. So episode 2. So after Sam saves Mon from another super slow car crash.
I love that super slow.
I love that there's 2. There's this fun slip up that happens when they're communicating where Sam calls Mon babe, which again is this, I don't understand the translation, but I was like, is that a mistranslation? But the way Mon reacts leads me to think that it's not, because she's like, do you realize what you just called me? I've known you for 2 seconds. Well, it's been 10 years, but you know, you think you just met me yesterday, like this morning. So this is weird. So I think this is a real thing that happened and not a mistranslation, because I think the point of this is that Mon throws Sam off her game. I think that's the whole thing, because this whole interaction and the car crash that never was follows the scene where Sam overheard Mon essentially like defending her against the employees that were drunk and bad mouthing Sam, basically. So I think that threw Sam off, because she's like, nobody defends me. And then this slip up happens. So I love this detail. I think it's cute, and I think it's showing you that Sam, them walls are coming down, girl. She doesn't even know. There's a breach. There's a breach in the barrier.
I mean, I feel it also just kind of shows that Sam's a person, because babe can be used in multiple contexts as well.
Totally.
So depending on what the translation is, it could be like a romantic type thing or just like a friendly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So either way, you're right. It's breaking down some walls, and it's and I think that's really a really nice added thing of like, okay, so Sam is actually a person too. Like, it's not just this scary boss lady.
Right. Because that's all we hear. All we hear is that she's terrifying, and she's not the same person Mon met when they were children. So the slip up is... What?
She a Mon boss.
She a Mon boss, and later Mon becomes the boss, and that's my favorite episode. But I don't want to jump ahead to that, even though I want to. But here, like, the slip up is important. It humanizes Sam, which is exactly what you're saying. And I love that Mon catches it and she's like, do you realize what you just did? And Sam's like, what? No, I didn't. Like, it clearly was not planned. And just, yeah, there's a breach in the barrier already. And it's been one episode, which I love. And Sam keeps doing slip ups. So then after that happens, Sam unprompted, like, gives Mon her jacket, a jacket out of the car, and like and then proceeds to lecture her about drinking, which sounds really funny, but the point of this conversation, as Mom points out, she's like, oh, you're worrying about me the way like a family member would, like showing me that you care, not just like giving me an affectionate nickname, which is the babe slip up, romantic or not. It's still an affectionate, like, you're my friend kind of thing still. And so is this behavior. She fed her at dinner and then is now giving her a jacket. So this is a lot all at once after meeting this terrifying human being. And
well, I also think it's supposed to kind of be like subtle seduction.
Totally.
Too.
Oh, I hope so.
Like, it's hot. Like giving somebody your jacket. Like, are you cold or not? Like that's
okay,
some moves.
Wait a minute. First of all, Sam's like, wow, your top is really thin. Sam, why are you looking at it that closely?
That's what
Sam?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
do gal pals do that, Sam? I don't know. But I'm not entirely sure if these are like conscious or unconscious things that she's doing.
Right.
Which also makes it fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, we're friends now. So she's like, well, when you get home, you need to text me. Which is like, classic like friend behavior. Like, I want to make sure you didn't die. Especially because like, I think part of Sam's fear is that like you're an unmarried woman who's tiny. Mom's like 4 foot and 100, like less than 100 pounds. Like, she's tiny. She's like, you're gonna get abducted. Like, please let me know you didn't get abducted. So, but I don't understand this because Sam's like, call me or text me or whatever. Then Sam gives Mon her phone. Like, Sam gives Mon Sam's phone and is like, give me your number. And that's the end of the exchange. How the fuck is Mon supposed to text you? You have her number, not the other way around. I don't understand this. Like,
I figured this one out.
Okay,
so because this was like literally the only note that I had wrote in my phone, and it confused the crap out of me. So Sam asked Mon for her line ID, as in her ID number, which is basically like how we use WhatsApp. So Mon adds herself as a friend in Sam's phone, and then I believe Sam will show up in her recommendations at the very least, if not already friends. So that's how she's able to find her. So it's like a friendship. Kind of, so more like Discord, I feel like.
Okay. That makes way more sense. Because I thought, like, I saw this language in another Thai show, and I thought it just, like, translated to, like, phone number, like, line ID, like, phone number. But okay. It's an actual, like,
it's an app.
It's an app.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. I was just like, Sam, because he likes to put unrealistic expectations on Mon, and I was like...
They have the same colors as WhatsApp, too, which is very intriguing.
Maybe they're, like, similar, I guess, apps, or like one's a rip off the other. Who knows? Okay, love that. All right. So let's see. Oh, go ahead, Cole.
I was just gonna say, like, this jacket though is never leaving Mon's sight.
No.
Like, Mon is never returning that jacket.
I never see it again.
It's going in a shadow box on the wall.
Shadow box shrine. It's just gonna be tacked up to the wall. Like,
listen, I think we never see it again, and the reason we never see it again is because it's under the covers, and Mon sleeps with it.
Sleeps with it.
Yeah. We never see it again. Like, that is Mon's. And Sam never asked for it back. She probably forgot it happened. Like, it's my jacket now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I love how nobody actually wears jackets in the show. It's on the shoulders, but like,
fashion.
Girl, wear the jacket. It's cold. Anyway, I love that.
It's just fashion.
It's just fashion, baby.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like the next scene that is important to talk about is another bullshit scene that we've seen twice in Asian cultures now. So the first time we talked about this is in Exo Kitty.
Yeah.
But is there something in their Asian cultures that make them message or call someone and then say they don't have time for them?
Oh my god, that's my favorite scene in Exo Kitty. So for context, like, finally Sam was like, Mon doesn't text her back because Mon's like, she didn't really mean that. She's my boss and like royalty. She doesn't want me to text her. That'd be weird. It's like 1 a.m. This would be weird. Then at like 2 a.m., Sam's like, what the fuck? Why didn't you text me? I thought you were dead. And then Mon's like, oh, I'm sorry. So then she like texts her. She's like, call me. And then she calls her. And then she's like, what the fuck are you calling me? I think this is to demonstrate Sam's contrarian because she can't ever say what she means. But also, yes, the scene in Exo Kitty was hilarious because like one of the characters, his mom calls him, and then immediately is like, "I don't have time to call you, talk to you," and it's like, you called him. What do you mean? Which is my favorite scene. So yeah, it did give me Exo Kitty vibes, but I think this is just Sam being contrarian, and I don't know what the fuck that Exo Kitty scene was actually about. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
That was a non-present mother.
Yeah, I mean, this is just Sam getting emotional whiplash. Mon getting emotional whiplash from Sam, which is an unfortunate cycle that we're trapped in, like the rest of the show, because Sam cannot express herself properly. She needs royal therapy. Like she needs so much therapy, so much. That poor girl is traumatized.
I interpreted these scenes slightly different, and we'll get into my interpretation a little bit later because this comes up again, the texting stuff. But like, I don't know if I've just been in like interesting situations with people I was talking to or dating or whatever in the past, but like, this is not hot. You know, like it's like, don't text me, like, you know, it's like going back, it's like playing with emotions. It's like making it I mean, again, not condoning it. It was rough, but like
Sam's trying to be a challenge. She's like,
yes, exactly. Like it's just like there's more to it than just like, don't text me, why are you calling? It's like
the push and pull thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, Mon is always up for the challenge of like, what the fuck do I do to like please her kind of thing. So yeah, it's a power move. It's like lighting a candle. Cole, this is like her lighting candles. So she's like, I have all the power. Look at my candle.
Let's
click
just
that
watch
later.
you light a candle. I know. But because then Mon is like, even in these like situations where you're seeing Mon kind of confused, she's like trying to figure out a way of working around this tough exterior and like finding who Lady Sam actually is. So she's trying to figure out how to communicate with this person who's so like prickly at this point. And it's, I don't know, I think it's a fun play kind of thing that they're doing. I understand that it's probably not the healthiest and therapy is necessary, but I also don't hate it, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying I hate it. I just feel bad for Mon because you're always like, what the fuck do you want from me? But it ratchets up tension, basically. Like, not the friendship kind.
Not the friendship
kind.
Absolutely not.
All right. So speaking of friends,
we are introduced to Sam's friend group because they all meet at a restaurant because basically like to talk about Sam and the shit with her grandmother, essentially. My favorite thing about this is the first introduction we get to Jim. I fucking love Jim. Kaitlynn, when you texted me that we were very close to getting Jim as an interview, talking about a character from Our Flag Means Death, I thought you meant this Jim, and I was like, how? And oh my god, because I love this character so fucking much.
I mean, I could try if you want.
I don't know. I would love. I fucking love this character. So the first intro and her first line is, "Hey, honorable lady stupid, stop swirling your lips." I think that's the intro.
I love these nicknames for Lady Sam. They are the best thing.
Oh my god.
Like,
yes.
It's so funny that they just dig into her, constantly. Like just make fun, but in a friendly, like teasing way. Yes. But like they're like, you're an idiot. Like, we understand that you're a noble person or whatever, like a lady, but you're an idiot. Like, just
they call her out on her bullshit all, and I love it. And like, it's like, okay, the problem with like being in power and not having anybody on your level is that nobody challenges you and calls you out on your bullshit, which is why Sam is intrigued by Mon to begin with. So I love that her friends are just always like that with her. It's very candid, and they're very like, you're being a fucking idiot right now. And Sam like actually listens to them. So I imagine like this was kind of always their dynamic, or like they're just very honest with her. And you're right, it's not malicious. It's very just like friends teasing each other. So, and I love that they take her title and they just like twist it to like dig at her. And like, they're like, we love teasing Sam. It's one of our favorite things. And I like watching it. So,
yeah, right. God. I wonder if this started though, because they were friends since before, like you were saying, yeah. So if they were friends before the two sisters left, I wonder if like because they knew her before she was the heir. I wonder if this is just like a continuation of that like teasing play versus if they met her after she became the heir. I don't know if they would have this kind of relationship.
I don't think Sam would allow that. Because she does not allow that with literally anybody else. The exception becomes Mon a little bit, like with like being able to tease her. Because even when Mon starts teasing her, she's like, "Why are you teasing me?" Because it's almost like she's only used to them doing it. She never lets Kirk do it. Right. She's like, "Don't be inappropriate. Don't like breathe on me. Like get away." Like, but meanwhile, they can like air her dirty laundry when they're all like in their friend group, and she doesn't give a shit. So yeah, I agree. I think that this is, again, a remnant of like Sam being stuck in the past in a way because of her relationship with her friends she met pre-being the heir. And they clearly are incredibly like close enough to like make fun of the honorable lady to her face and make a mockery of her title. I think that's huge.
Well, I also think that Lady Sam also does not want to have this title.
No,
like deep down, does not care, does not want it. She uses it to her advantage when necessary, but I don't think she like I don't think that's who she is at her core.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the kind of person she wants to be.
I agree. And she was never supposed to be her to begin with.
Right.
Right. She was like the spare. Like she was never meant to be the heir. So like, yeah, I think she was thrust into this life she didn't want, wasn't supposed to have, and she just handled it the best she could, you know. And what I like is that she kept these friends and she kept them close. And so to me, it almost shows that like the version of Sam that Mon fell in love with or was imprinted on, however you want to phrase it, like it shows that Sam is still there. It's just buried under the trauma of it all, you know. So there's hope, you know, for Sam.
Right. And that's important. Like, I'm glad that they started showing us like that there is hope to like for redemption of this character.
Yeah, I agree. Like they show it early rather than like waiting halfway through the season to be like, oh, Sam isn't evil. Like it's very apparent from the beginning, like you said. And I agree. I think that's important for how they kind of pace the character development. I think is a strength of this show.
Yeah, definitely.
So the friend group is here. They assembled because to support Sam because the grandmother again is pressuring her, and as we said, their dynamic is just so cute and just precious, and I fucking love them. And one thing that comes out during this conversation is Sam confesses to them like, the company is my only source of happiness. So, and she says it in relation to basically living her life the way her grandmother wants her to live it, like having a husband, having kids, not having a job. And Sam admits that she doesn't want that life for herself and like doesn't see herself doing that. She feels very and I think it says a lot that she feels comfortable enough to admit her truth to this friend group. Like she would never say this to her grandmother. I highly doubt she'd ever say it to Kirk. Like this candidly. And I think the key here is not just the friends that she's saying it to, but the fact that they're quote unquote like behind closed doors. Like they're out of the public eye. They're kind of in their own little secluded part of the restaurant. And she's like being very candid with them. So, but unfortunately, like kind of to your point, Cole, when we were talking earlier about like the deal the grandmother made with Sam about like delaying marriage for the career thing. It's for Sam, the company, like really at the end of the day is delaying the inevitable that like grandmother's going to win in the end. She's going to marry Kirk. She's going to have kids, like have heirs, blah, blah, blah. But so Sam, like by cutting this deal, it doesn't solve her problem. It's just like a Band-Aid in a way. It's like not really so it's showing that like Sam is not great at like following completely through for what she wants. Unlike Song and her other sisters, like who were just like, fuck it. They got to their breaking point and they're like, I'm doing me. Sam like will ultimately yield to grandmother. Like ultimately.
Yeah. She feels the guilt.
Yeah. She definitely
feels the guilt.
She feels the guilt. And I think she can kind of read grandmother's reaction because like grandmother's not really trying to rob the sisters of their happiness. That's not what grandmother thinks she's doing. Like, to grandmother, like, her version of love is like setting them up to succeed in the life in the way that she succeeded. Like, she's like, this is what success looks like for a noble woman. It's marrying a good man, having kids, keeping the bloodline going, keeping the power, like solidifying the family power. That's a good life. I did that. That's what I want for you. And by setting you up to succeed like that, that's how I'm showing you love. So when all the sisters are like, I don't want this, grandmother's not seeing that as like them sticking up for what they want. She's seeing that as a rejection of who she is, because they're saying, I don't want your life, grandmother. And grandmother's saying, you're rejecting me personally. So that's where all of this like vitriol, like when Song said it, that's what the vitriol kind of comes out, because grandmothers feel like she's being attacked when they reject, quote, her. So I think like Sam, having seen that play out twice, is very aware of that, and she doesn't want to like reject or hurt her grandma. Like, it's still her grandmother at the end of the day, even though she's being a dick, you know, like grandmother doesn't think she's harming Sam, but like she is. And that's kind of like the tragedy of it all, you know, this like endless cycle of like, I'm doing what's best for you by like denying you what you want. And I just love that the friends are like, the friends clearly see that, and they're always like, what the fuck with the grandma kind of thing. Like, they see what's happening very clearly and support Sam, but like ultimately Sam is just on this trajectory of giving grandma what she wants.
It also kind of seems like the friends are like exactly what you're saying. Like, they see the situation unfold, but they're like, you have to come to this conclusion yourself. We're going to try and help you see the different pieces, but ultimately we can only be here to be your friend. And when you decide for yourself that this is the life you want or don't want, like, that's when you will make this decision. So I think that's also very like an important thing for this friend group too, is that they understand that like they can only say so much, they can only give so much help or like words of wisdom, and Lady Sam has to make the choice on her own to follow what her grandma's saying or to follow her truth.
Yeah, I think it's also contrasting the grandmother in a sense, because like you said, that they are there to support Sam. They are not there to impose onto Sam like the grandmother is doing. So they're like, you know, T's like, well, we could get married and solve all these problems right now and run away. And like, they don't try to like heist Sam out of the situation. They're there to just like support her with whatever she's going to do. They'll voice their opinions, like you're saying, but they don't impose their will on her. They try to manipulate her and tease her and shit, but they don't like, but it's for her own benefit. They're not like, to get Sam to be like, what do you fucking want, Sam? Like, come on. We know what you want. We need you to recognize it, kind of thing. But they don't ever try to like impose anything on Sam the way that it's the opposite of the grandmother, showing affection in two different ways, I guess, is a way to look at it.
Yeah. That's that, and it's just very much like they're trying to just, like you're saying, help support her and just be there for her as somebody else.
Yeah.
That she, instead of it only be, because it's the grandmother's her only family at this point.
Right.
Like the friends are there to like keep her mind open to other possibilities. Because I mean, it's a bunch of queer people. Like, it's just queer people.
Totally.
So it's just trying to keep, and I mean, that's also kind of a hint of like the future, like with Sam too.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I mean, it's just. I don't know. I really like this friend group a lot. I think them all like discussing life choices is extremely relatable as well. Like, just getting around, like having, what are they having, like brunch or something, and just discussing life choices. And
I love that they all meet, like always, like it's all of them. Like even when like Kate is filming, she like will FaceTime. I love that they all get together like constantly. It's very sweet.
Yeah. And then this is also when we find out that I think Jim, right, is pregnant too. And then that ends up being our like timeline of what is happening. Like the time of how long it takes this stuff to happen.
Yeah, totally.
Which is very helpful because there's not a lot of passage of time
No.
information given in
No.
this show.
Bye, Cole.
Bye, Cole. Yeah. No, not at all. So yeah, Jim's pregnancy is helpful and also hilarious because, oh my god, Jim and that baby and the pregnancy are just Jim is just like,
oh my god,
Jim is like the comic relief
Mhm.
and also terrifying cautionary tale of like why some people shouldn't have kids because like she doesn't know what the hell she's doing, and none of these queers know either. No one corrects her. They're like, whatever.
I think it's just her, and they're like,
No, like T eggs her on, like does not help. Like this bitch don't know what she's doing either. Like it's just funny. I love Jim. Oh my god. Okay, so next scene, we end up with learning that Kirk, who's Sam's not only like fiance, so like betrothed via the grandmother kind of situation. He's also her business partner. Like they run the company together, which probably was part of the deal, like you were saying, Cole. But Kirk, behind Sam's back, is scheming with some rival company. I don't know the name of this company. I don't even know the name of the boss. I don't care.
It's inclusivity.
Sure. It's yeah, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. So, but anyway, the boss lady at this company, the key point is she's 100% into Sam, right? Okay, she's just not a straight person either, right? Because there's no heterosexual explanation for the scene where they meet and it's like
hot.
Yeah,
Just
I'm like what?
sexual tension.
He's like flirting with Sam immediately. But also like when she's talking with Kirk, she calls Kirk like your beautiful lady. Like she starts like laying it thick to Kirk when Sam's not even in the room. And then Kirk leaves and it cuts away to her computer screen and she has this like gorgeous like shot of Sam in like the I don't know, diversity office. And also, like, it was the exact outfit Sam was wearing the day before this conversation with Kirk. So, like, how did she get this? Where did this photo come from?
I don't know.
Why did she have it? And it's like, she's just like staring at it. So, she's trying to get with Sam, is my understanding. She doesn't give a shit about her company. She's like, I'm here for the beautiful Sam, Kirk. You're just in the way.
Yeah, I mean, if they like merge companies, there's
that's like a marriage, right?
Yeah,
companies,
right.
That's legally binding. I'm just saying, there's queerness all over the show, and this was a power move if I ever saw one. Mm-hmm. And Kirk has no idea. He's like, he has no gaydar, is what I'm saying, like zero, because. I'm just saying, he has zero. He shouldn't be surprised by the end of this season.
No, he shouldn't.
He shouldn't. He'd be like, there were so many signs. The Taylor Swift song, I gave so many signs. Like, Kirk, there were so many signs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay. So, let's get to Lady Boss's headache, because that's probably the big part of the rest of this episode. So, anyway, they're in the office really late, Mon and Sam. And Mon ends up taking care of Sam, was like the bottom line. And then eventually... like they get in a taxi together because Sam obviously can't drive because she's having like a straight up migraine and like I don't have migraines, my partner has migraines and they're awful and debilitating, and so Sam seems to get migraines is my understanding. So she obviously can't drive her fancy sports car, so they get in a taxi together and like Sam is like falling all over Mon like the whole time. That's like before she even has the drugs. She's just like, you're my pillow right now, don't move. And this is where I hate the boss employee thing because like Mon has no autonomy in the situation to be like, can you also like what the fuck were these migraine pills? Because why is she so tired immediately? She takes the pill, it hasn't even absorbed into her bloodstream yet, and she's already, it's like, what was in this painkiller? What was the painkiller it related? Because Kirk's like, you have to go to a specialty pharmacy, and I'm like, is it oxy? Like, what is she taking? Because like this makes her way too tired to be like.
It was a dealer on the street. Okay,
the royal dealer. He's like, you're gonna go in this alley. You're gonna meet, Alan. Don't ask questions. Just take what's in the bag. Give him some money.
Go straight there. Don't make any other stuff.
Don't make eye contact. Which Mon doesn't do. She's like, got it covered. Yeah, this will be fine.
I do like though that Mon does call Kirk, and Kirk is able to help.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I do like that. There's just like it was a very sweet like you can tell that Kirk does care for
for sure.
Lady Sam. Whether or not it's like a right situation for both of them, that's another story, but he does care and he has known her for a very long time. So it was just nice that Mon was able to call Kirk and get some help, because Sam was not in any place to be able to help herself at this point.
No, absolutely. And like, you know, somebody who has like chronic migraines, like I'm sure he's been in this situation before.
Yeah.
But he knew exactly what to do. And you're right. Like that is a constant, like he does actually like care about her on some level. But you have to imagine that he also like has a very vested interest in this from a status perspective.
Yes.
And he doesn't seem to wield that, but like I'm sure it's mixed in there. It's a complicated relationship, but you know, there's a friendship there on some level. I assume.
I don't know. That's what it looks like.
All right. So after the car, one other thing we get from the car ride is that it ends up at Sam's place first. And so we get a look at Sam's like gorgeous mansion that she lives in by herself. And when Mon sees it, she's surprised by this because she's like, "Oh, I thought you lived in the palace," because like that's where Song lived and Nuang lived. They lived with the grandmother in like the palace, like her palace or whatever it's called. So it is odd that she doesn't actually live there with the grandmother. She has her own place, which her sisters never had. So I was wondering if this maybe was part of that whole arrangement. Like, let me be on my own, quote. I mean, obviously, you know, privilege, but like, let me be on my own away from you while I be a businesswoman kind of thing. So I thought that was a really interesting detail because the other sisters didn't get that grace. They were forced to live with the grandmother under the same roof, which is kind of like a cultural thing where like unmarried women live with the family. They don't live by them. This is very atypical that she's an unmarried woman living by herself. Granted, she's engaged, but she's still unmarried. So this is an atypical situation again. So like, I think this is part of the grandmother's like compromise with Sam, which is an interesting detail.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's I think it is a compromise of some kind, whether like it might be. I mean, how old were the sisters when they left? Were they like, 'cause she's 29?
Yeah, she's almost 30. The Song was Mon's age. She was like early 20s because she had just graduated from like college, university or whatever when she kind of like passed away. And then the other sister, I don't know how old she was supposed to be honest. I don't even know her age or what their age gap is.
But. Yeah. Because like maybe it's just like at a certain point. I mean, they're wealthy as all, like they're so wealthy. So maybe this house was supposed to be for the heir.
Yeah, could be. Maybe this was supposed to be like where they lived when they got married.
Yeah, and she's just taking a while. So the grandma was just like, "Okay, I mean, you're gonna get this house eventually anyway, so you might as well start living in it now." Maybe, you know, like it could just be like. It could just be an age thing too, like maybe after 25, like that, because that would be about the 4 or 5 years point. Like she was given a house because she's supposed to get married, but she was like, I actually want to do business instead.
Yeah, so, that's true. Maybe this is where she's supposed to live with Kirk eventually, and she's like, "Yeah, how about that? How about that? He's not even allowed in the house," which I love the detail. He's like not allowed in there either.
So. Once Mon drops Sam off at her house, Sam tells her to text her when she gets home. So she takes the cab and goes home. And this is where I need to like just talk about how much I hate their relationship, at least in the beginning. Because I feel like it's so abusive, emotionally abusive between them. And it's not even just like the power imbalance. Because Sam tells her not to use her name. Because she calls her Sam. And she's like, "Why are you using my name?" But then she says lady or whatever. I don't know what she says, but
lady boss. That's whatever they call him at the office.
And then she's like, "Don't be so formal. Text her when she gets home." But she shouldn't have texted because Sam has a headache. But when Mon calls, she says she's upset about that as well. Like, that's not how you treat people. Like, tell them what you want. And I really like that Mon does stand up for herself and forces Sam to see how she isn't being fair. Because she says, "I don't understand what you want from me exactly, lady boss."
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, like, this scene is hard to watch because Mon is getting emotional whiplash, like, and that happens a lot. And I think the problem is that, like, Sam doesn't really know what she wants. I think Sam is contradictory, as we learn, as a form of self-preservation, which her oldest sister taught her to do, as a berry, like, she's like, have your poker face on when you're happy, and when you're sad, smile, like, to never, like, let people know you, and, like, so you don't get hurt. It's a way to, like, protect herself. And Sam's been living like that since her sisters died, like, with the grandmother. So, like, yeah, she's contrarian as a form of self-preservation. But in this scene, she's constantly contradicting herself, which is not normal. So I think that this is less of a Sam being like, I'm telling you the opposite and I want you to infer I mean the opposite the way her friends do. I think Sam genuinely doesn't know what she wants. And I think has all these emotions for Mon and doesn't know what to do with it. And she's just like, I don't know, I'm feeling all these things. And she cannot communicate that at all at this point. And is just like freaking the fuck out. I think she's freaking out on some. Also, what were in those drugs? I think she's a little high. Doesn't know what's going on. Also, so there's that. Don't do drugs, kids. Unless your doctor tells you to do drugs, then do drugs. But Sam is an emotionally stunted person. Like, let's be real. And I think that Mon is her Pompeii. She's just like, what the fuck? And, like, they're just coming out of her like a volcano, and she doesn't know what to do with this. But the fucked up part of this whole exchange, because I can rationalize and I understand your feelings, Kaitlynn. Like, the first time I watched this, I was like, wow, this is poor Mon. Like, I think what's really fucked up about it is Mon's takeaway from the conversation. Mm-hmm. It's not about, like, why is Sam being like this? She takes ownership of this situation and is like, what is it about me she doesn't like? And she's almost like she beats herself up about the way Sam is acting, not questioning, like, why is Sam doing? She gets there later, where she's like, why is Sam being weird? And then figures it out through the aid of Sam's friends to be like, got it. This is a defensive mechanism. So I hate this for Mon because she's just left with all this unresolved, like, anxiety about this conversation. And I think it's clear in this scene that, like, Mon doesn't really understand her own self-worth at this point when it comes to their dynamic. To her, and this is the problem I have with this whole thing, is like, Sam has all the power, and that's how Mon is perceiving this whole situation. But if Mon really could see, like, beyond the mask, beyond the bullshit, she would understand that, like, that's really not the case. Like, Mon is affecting Sam, and Sam doesn't know what to do with it. Because, like, when they cut back to Sam, like, when they hang up on the phone, like, Sam looks unnerved, like, in shock a little bit. Because I think that she doesn't understand what's happening. Like, they're both having emotional reactions, and I think either of them really understand why they're having these very intense emotional reactions to each other. And they just handle it differently because they're different people. And Sam is horrible at confrontation. Like, notice anytime she has to, like, apologize, she can't even do it because, like, she's terrible at confrontation. So, like, this is just her trying to lash out at Mon because she's having these feelings and she doesn't know what to do with it. She's trying to, like, throw it on Mon, and Mon's like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, because I don't think Sam knows either. And that, like, and they're hurting each other in the process. And, like, it's just a clusterfuck of emotions I think is what it is.
So while, yes, I agree from Mon's point of view, it does seem very rough. Like, it is, she's taking it very personally. She's taking it very negatively and harshly. But kind of like what Theora was saying, like, I think Lady Sam is having a lot of conflicting emotions about this and is not sure, like, what is happening. She wants to be close, but doesn't know how to be close. She is unsure how to express herself. She wants one thing, but does something completely different. She's like kind of trying to flirt and is doing it really badly.
Yes.
And it's like really badly.
Really badly.
But, like, so Mon is taking it personally because she's like, why are you saying this stuff to me? Or why are you acting like this? And I'm pretty sure Lady Sam is trying to flirt with her. Like, and it's not going too well yet.
No.
But I also think that Mon is able to, and like we mentioned earlier, she's very empathetic. So I think she's going to, which can bite her in the ass, but like I think it's going to help her in this, so she's able to kind of, she wants to see it from Sam's point of view. So I think that's what's going to help her like kind of stick this relationship out and kind of see what happens and where this goes. But I think that Lady Sam just does not know how to talk to people and does not know how to like express feelings, does not know how to like interact in a not hierarchy kind of way. So she's also afraid of getting close to girls, specifically like women, like people she's interested in, like actually interested in. So she's trying to keep her distance, but she's extremely intrigued by who Mon is.
I think what boils down this whole interaction and why it's such a clusterfuck is I think Sam wanted Mon to stay with her. That was the whole thing. And I don't think she knew how to say that either because of the drugs or because she doesn't know how to say that. Because like, I think this is probably one of the first times in a very long time Sam actually wanted something, like genuinely wanted something for herself that had nothing to do with the grandmother, nothing to do with delaying the marriage to Kirk, which is what the company is. She actually wanted something for the very first time. And I think that scares the shit out of her. And she doesn't know how to communicate that. So she's just like saying all the things to try and get Mon to come to her, but like it's a failing. It's a clusterfuck. And it's just, yeah, I think she wanted Mon to stay. That was the whole thing. And then it was just a clusterfuck.
It's like I want you to stay, but only if you want to stay.
Right. That's what she's always like. That. She's like, it's dinner time. It's dinner time. That's her way of being like, do you want to go out with me? And Mon has to put it together. She's like, do you want me to eat with you? Is that what this is? Like,
she's just like emotionally immature and like just not have the like verbal, like the words to put together and connect her feelings with like what she needs to say to get that.
Yeah.
And then
she didn't grow up with Sesame Street.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably not. I think this is also when we get into the like scary story thing.
Oh my god,
too.
this is such a cute character quirk.
This was so weird, but basically like, so Mon, I thought this was really important because it continues throughout the show as well. Mon basically had found out that from Kirk that Lady Sam is afraid of, like, doesn't like scary stories and is afraid of like anything scary, like literally anything scary.
Literally.
So I think Mon ends up trying to like be flirty back. I think she finally figures out that maybe Lady Sam is kind of flirting, but like in platonic way. Like they're not flirting yet. Like,
I think
they're not.
Oh, I can get under your skin with this.
Yeah. But like in a flirty way.
Yeah.
Like it's a
in
like,
a gal pal way.
Kind of. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I thought this was so funny. So then she starts like telling Lady Sam, like Mon starts telling Lady Sam a like scary story and is like, oh, don't like look under your bed, like you can't do, like it's gonna be outside your window. Yeah.
That one's my favorite.
And then and then of course Lady Sam ends up being terrified and is like, this is rude, and stays up all night basically. And then, so then the next day, I thought this was important too. The next day, Lady Sam is mad, but like hot, flirting mad.
Like throws her up against the wall.
Yeah. And I love that scene. She's just like, I can't believe you did that. And just like tilts the glasses down. It was so great. It's so funny.
Again, Mon has more power than she thinks. Once she figures out how to push her buttons, she's like, this is fun. But I love that she does this and then she's like, I don't know why Sam's mad at me. Like, girl, read your text.
I can't figure it out. I have no idea.
Mon has like amnesia sometimes and I'm like, Mon, just read the text. Anyway,
you said it.
This was hilarious though. I love that it's a cute character quirk that Sam has where she's afraid of like horror stuff. And just
anything scary, not even horror. It's just like, ooh, there might be something under the bed.
It's like so she was talking about like legends in that area. So it's like a superstition thing, but yeah, it's hilarious. Actually,
That's
there's a cute one later where they're sitting down to watch TV together, and Sam's going through the channels, and something startles her, and she goes like this.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see it, but she's just like,
I know. I know. It's just like,
it's funny.
and of course, like with the fingers open. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you can see that, but anyway. And she goes,
I know.
it's really cute. I love that they keep
So
keep that going. All right. Well, that concludes episode 1 and 2. I think we will pause our discussion and conclude this episode here. So if you like Gap the series, keep listening because we're going to get through the entire season scene by delicious scene. We hope you enjoyed this. Please connect with us on Discord and or everywhere because we want to keep talking about the show because it's super, super fun. And until next time, hydrate for lesbian Jesus.
And gay it up all over the place.
Bye.
Bye.
And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing, super gay content.
If you'd like to support us, check out our merch store, or join our Patreon for early access to episodes, exclusive content, and so much more.
Until next time, stay safe and hydrate for lesbian Jesus.